She was rejected on a blind date. Not just rejected, humiliated. Left sitting alone at a table for two while her phone mocked her with a text that said, "I was just trying to get my mom off my back." She was ready to leave, to disappear into the night and pretend this never happened. But then a stranger walked over to her table, a man she'd never met, and he asked her something she never saw coming, something that would turn her loneliest night into the beginning of everything. "Would you marry me?" Before we continue, let us know in the comment section where in the world you're tuning in from. We love seeing how far our stories reach. And if this story speaks to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Lena stared at the text message, reading it for the third time like somehow the words would rearrange themselves into something less devastating. "Sorry, can't make it. Was just trying to get my mom off my back, you understand?" No, she didn't understand. She sat at Carmichael's, at a candlelit table meant for two, surrounded by the gentle hum of laughter and conversation. Around her, couples leaned into each other, sharing stories and stolen glances. And there she was, alone, again. Elliot had canceled 15 minutes before their 7 o'clock reservation. 15 minutes. Like she was an appointment he could just reschedule. Or in this case, cancel altogether. The waiter appeared at her elbow, young and awkward, clearly sensing something was wrong. "Can I get you started with anything to drink while you wait?" "Just water, please," Lena managed, forcing a smile that felt like it might crack her face in half. She watched him walk away, probably off to whisper to the other servers about the sad woman at table 12 who got stood up. She could already picture them casting sympathetic glances her way, wondering if they should offer her a free dessert or just let her leave with whatever dignity she had left. Lena picked up the menu just to have something to hide behind. She'd worn her good dress tonight, the navy blue one that Maya had insisted looked amazing on her. She'd even straightened her hair, put on makeup, told herself that this time would be different. But it was never different, was it? 29 years old, and she couldn't even get a man to show up. What did that say about her? Was there something written on her forehead that screamed not worth the effort? Some invisible mark that made men run before they even met her? She blinked hard, willing herself not to cry. Not here. Not in front of all these people who seemed to have figured out something she clearly hadn't. Her phone buzzed. For one stupid, hopeful second, she thought maybe Elliot had changed his mind. Maybe he was outside, ready to apologize and make everything right. It was Maya. "How's it going? Is he cute?" Lena typed back quickly. "He didn't show." The 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally. "What? That absolute piece of, I'm calling you right now." "Don't," Lena texted back. "I'm fine, just heading home." She wasn't fine, and she wasn't heading home yet either, because somehow leaving felt like admitting defeat, and she'd already had enough of that for one night. The waiter returned with her water and a basket of bread. "Your guest running late?" "Something like that," Lena said, looking down at her lap. She gave him 5 more minutes. 5 minutes to finish her water, to pretend she was just early, to tell herself that maybe there was traffic, or his phone died, or literally anything other than the truth. And then she'd leave. Pay for her water, walk out with her head high, and never let Maya set her up on another blind date again. But those 5 minutes stretched into 10, and 10 into 15. And suddenly Lena realized she'd been sitting there for almost an hour, staring at the empty chair across from her like it might suddenly materialize a decent human being. She reached for her purse, ready to flag down the waiter and end this nightmare, when a shadow fell across her table. "Excuse me." Lena looked up. A man stood beside her table, tall and broad-shouldered, probably late 30s, with dark hair that looked like he'd run his fingers through it a few too many times that evening. He wore a simple gray button-down and jeans. Nothing fancy, but there was something about the way he carried himself that made her pause. His eyes were kind, but tired, like he'd seen more than his share of hard nights. "I'm really sorry to bother you," he said, his voice low and careful. "But I've been sitting over there for the past half hour, and I couldn't help but notice you're alone." "Great. Here it comes. The pity. Are you okay, sweetie? I know how this sounds," he continued quickly, as if reading her mind. "And I know you don't know me, but I also know what it feels like to sit in a crowded room and feel completely invisible. So I'm just going to ask, and if you say no, I'll walk away, and we'll both pretend this never happened. But would you mind if I joined you?" Lena stared at him. This had to be a joke, or a scam, or maybe the universe's twisted way of making her night even more humiliating. "Why?" The word came out sharper than she intended. The man didn't flinch. "Because 3 years ago, I lost my wife to cancer. And for the first year after she died, I ate every meal alone. At home, in restaurants. Didn't matter. I was surrounded by people and I felt like a ghost. And seeing you sitting here, looking the way you're looking right now, I just thought maybe neither of us should have to eat alone tonight." The honesty in his voice hit her like a wave. This wasn't pity. This was something else entirely. "I don't even know your name," Lena said quietly. Ryan Carter." He didn't extend his hand, didn't make any move to sit down. Just stood there, waiting for her answer like it actually mattered to him. Lena looked at the empty chair across from her. The chair that Elliot was supposed to fill. The chair that had been mocking her for the past hour. And then she looked back at Ryan. At this stranger who just laid his grief bare in the middle of a crowded restaurant because he thought she might need company. What did she have to lose? Her dignity was already in pieces on the floor. "Okay," she heard herself say. "Sure, why not?" Something shifted in Ryan's expression. Relief, maybe, or gratitude. He pulled out the chair and sat down, and for the first time all night, Lena didn't feel quite so alone. "So," Ryan said, settling into his seat, "I'm going to take a wild guess and say your evening didn't go as planned." Lena let out a laugh that was half humor, half disbelief. "What gave it away?" "The death grip you had on your phone earlier. The way you kept checking the door. The fact that you've been sitting at a table for two, alone, for almost an hour." He paused. "Blind date? That obvious? Only because I've seen that look before. Usually in the mirror." Ryan leaned back slightly, his posture relaxed, but his eyes focused entirely on her. "For what it's worth, whoever stood you up is an idiot. You don't even know me." "Don't have to. Anyone who makes plans and doesn't show up without a damn good reason is an idiot. It's just a fact." Lena found herself smiling despite everything. "He texted me 15 minutes before we were supposed to meet. Said he was just trying to get his mom off his back." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Yeah. That's not just idiot behavior. That's coward behavior." The waiter appeared again, this time looking less confused. "Oh, good. Your friend made it. Can I get you folks something to drink?" "I'll have whatever she's having," Ryan said without looking at the menu. "That's just water." "Perfect." After the waiter left, Lena studied Ryan more carefully. There was something genuine about him. Something that felt different from every other guy she'd met in the past few years. He wasn't trying too hard, wasn't putting on a show. He was just there. You said you lost your wife, Lena said carefully. I'm sorry. That must have been, it was hell. Ryan's voice was matter of fact, but she could hear the weight behind the words. Still is some days. But I have a daughter, Mia. She's 5, and she's the reason I get up every morning and figure out how to keep going. Where is she tonight? With our neighbor, Mrs. Chen. She watches Mia sometimes when I need to get out of the house. Ryan's expression softened when he talked about his daughter. I love that kid more than anything in this world. But sometimes being around her is hard because she looks so much like her mother, and He stopped himself, shook his head. Sorry, that's probably too heavy for someone I just met. No, Lena said quickly. It's not, I asked. The waiter returned with Ryan's water and hovered nearby. Are you folks ready to order, or do you need a few more minutes? Lena and Ryan looked at each other, and in that moment, something unspoken passed between them. A recognition, an understanding that maybe this night didn't have to be a complete disaster after all. We need a few more minutes, Ryan said. As the waiter walked away, Ryan turned back to Lena. So, tell me about you, and not the sad blind date story. Tell me something real. Lena hesitated. It had been so long since someone asked her to talk about herself. Really talk, not the small talk version where you list your job and hobbies like you're filling out a dating profile. Something real. I'm a kindergarten teacher, she started, then caught herself. But that's not what you're asking, is it? Ryan smiled. Not really, though I bet you're good at it. What makes you say that? Because you're patient. You let me ramble about my dead wife for 5 minutes and didn't run for the hills. That takes a special kind of person. Lena felt her chest tighten, but in a good way. I like kids. They're honest. Brutally honest sometimes. But at least you always know where you stand with them. They don't cancel 15 minutes before they're supposed to meet you. No, they just tell you your breath smells or that your shoes are ugly. Exactly. Lena laughed, and this time it felt genuine. Last week, one of my students told me I looked tired. When I said I was fine, she said, No, Miss Martin, you look really tired, like my grandma after church. Ryan nearly choked on his water. She did not. She absolutely did. 5 years old and already a savage. They ordered food, nothing fancy. Ryan got a burger, Lena got pasta. And somehow that felt right. This wasn't a date. It wasn't an interview. It was just two people sharing a meal because neither of them wanted to be alone. Can I ask you something? Lena said after the waiter left. Sure. Why did you really come over here? And don't give me the, I know what it's like to be lonely speech. There are plenty of lonely people in this restaurant. Why me? Ryan was quiet for a moment, considering his words carefully. Because I saw the exact moment your heart broke. When you looked at that text message. And I remembered that feeling. Not from dating, but from the hospital. When the doctor came out and told me there was nothing else they could do. That look of complete devastation. I saw it on your face, and I thought, I don't know. I thought maybe I could at least make sure you didn't have to sit through it alone. Lena's throat felt tight. That's the kindest thing anyone's done for me in a long time. Then you need better people in your life. Tell me about it. Lena took a sip of her water, gathering her thoughts. You want to know the really pathetic part? This is the 4th time this year I've been stood up or canceled on. 4th. My best friend Maya keeps setting me up because she's convinced I need to put myself out there more. But every time I do, I just end up feeling worse about myself. Maybe the problem isn't you putting yourself out there. Maybe it's the quality of people your friend is setting you up with. Maya means well. She's been married for 3 years, has this perfect life with her perfect husband, and she just wants me to be happy like she is. But I'm starting to think maybe some people just aren't meant for that. Ryan leaned forward slightly. You really believe that? I don't know what I believe anymore. Lena felt the frustration bubbling up, all the disappointment and self-doubt she'd been swallowing down for months. I'm 29. All my friends are getting married, having kids, posting pictures of their anniversary trips to Italy. And I can't even get a guy to show up for a first date. What am I doing wrong? Nothing, Ryan said firmly. You're doing nothing wrong. You're just meeting the wrong people. How can you be so sure? Because I'm sitting here talking to you, and in the last 20 minutes, you've made me laugh more than I have in weeks. You're smart, you're funny, you're clearly compassionate given your job. The problem isn't you, Lena. It's them. Hearing her name from his lips felt strangely intimate. She realized she hadn't told him her name yet. How did you... Your phone. When you were texting earlier, I saw the name on your lock screen. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be creepy. You're not creepy, just observant. Lena paused. So, what about you? Have you tried dating since your wife passed? Ryan's expression shifted, becoming more guarded. A couple times. My mother-in-law keeps telling me Sarah would want me to move on, to find someone who could be a mother figure for Mia. But every time I try, it just feels wrong, like I'm betraying her memory or something. That must be hard, wanting to move forward but feeling stuck in the past. Yeah. Ryan rubbed his hand across his face. The worst part is, I know Sarah would be furious with me for putting my life on hold. She made me promise, before she died, that I wouldn't shut down, that I'd let myself be happy again. But knowing something intellectually and actually doing it are two very different things. Their food arrived, and they ate in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Lena watched Ryan, noticing the way his shoulders had relaxed since he first sat down. He looked less burdened now, less alone. Can I tell you something that might sound crazy? Lena said suddenly. Ryan looked up. After the night we've both had, I don't think anything could sound crazy. When I saw that text from Elliot, I thought that was it. Rock bottom. The moment where I'd finally have to accept that maybe love just isn't in the cards for me. But sitting here with you,